Welcome back to Bao News Network. We are actually working on our second volume. We have completed volume 1, 10 chapters, so we're actually starting volume 2, and this is our first chapter. We've covered quite a bit of vocabulary. If you recall from each of the chapters from volume 1, we covered 12 words, so we've accumulated quite a bit of a vocabulary extension as a result of starting this series. We do hope that it's benefiting you, and we actually go over various rules of perfect English grammar as well as adding new vocabulary words to contemplate with each chapter as we progress through each volume. Eventually, we hope to have at least 5 or 6 volumes which will allow you to cover up to the 500 or 600 words that were most anticipated that will appear on the TOEFL and SAT exam as well as other standardized exams. So we do hope that this is serving you well. If we take a closer look, we're just going to take a quick look at some grammar rules before we get into this chapter's set of vocabulary. We wanted to take a look at modular verbs as well as causatives, and modal verbs are used in conjunction with other words, verbs, to indicate ability or possibility. And these are the ranges of those modal verbs: must, have to, need to, had better, should, ought to, may, might, and can. And then we have causatives, verbs that reflect a person or thing. Person or thing causes something to happen. And we take a look at make, let, have, and get. And as far as examples are concerned, let's take a closer look at some of the examples of modal verbs and causatives. So if we start from the top, these are just 12 simple examples just to help you to stay focused on your general English grammar rules. You must stop eating a lot of calories to lose weight. You must speak loudly at the baseball game. You have to continue driving at the green light. You have to use the ATM to get cash from the bank. You need to exercise to lose weight. Do you feel sick? You had better see a doctor. It may rain on Monday. Could you find an ATM? Could I borrow $20 cash? And then as examples of causatives, the supervisor made John work overnight on the report. Or another causative, the personal fitness instructor made John run 3 more blocks. Or another causative, the teacher made her students write a letter to the president. So those are examples of just some of the just a few of English grammar rules. We'll touch touch a little bit on those grammar rules as we go through volume 2 a little bit more, but we're going to incorporate them already into reading passages. And if you recall, we did take a closer look as far as reading passages are concerned in our previous chapter. So if we take a look, we can see as far as reading comprehension exercises, just to recap here, for number 1, there are people who have received a flu shot and having experienced torpid effects, they have resorted to preaching trite conspiracy theories without realizing the deleterious nature of such theories. Another example, reading comprehension exercise, would be, according to the data from various studies, Instagram and Facebook are contributing to high school seniors' indifferent attitude towards the study of fine arts as a college major, which also corroborates claims that some high school seniors are exhibiting a listless and vapid response towards modern poetry recitals in class. And if we take another look, as far as a reading comprehension exercise that we covered, as the issue of climate change garners more attention globally, it's important that the leaders of the wealthiest nations commit to crafting meticulous long-term agreements that execute perspicacious plans to ameliorate the effects of carbon emissions on the quality of the air we breathe. And then a fourth example, reading comprehension exercise, with the midterm 2022 elections just around the corner, a few politicians are resorting to querulous tactics to gain votes, to control the narrative of their respective political party, to vilify anyone who objects to their narrative and thereby turn them into a political pariah. So these are actual vocabulary words that we covered in volume 1. So if any of these terms that were in the blue here are a little bit off for you, or you don't recall, you can simply go back and rewind on any of the chapters in volume 1, and we definitely specified what they actually mean as well as their synonyms, as far as how to use them. And keep in mind, many of these words are most likely to appear on your standardized exams, so you should prepare for them by all means. Speaking of synonyms, let's take a look at the answer sheet for Volume 1, Chapter 10. And we can quickly see the correlation between the word and the synonym. We had presented to you the blank sheet without the answers. So let's just go over real quickly some of the answers here. So we see alacrity. A synonym for that would be brisk, or bygone would be past. Decorous, synonym would be decorum. And demure, synonym would be bulk. And ethos would be disposition. Imbue, as it sounds from just by stating the word imbue, synonym infuse. Laconic, another word for laconic would be concise. A lot of these synonyms may appear in the reading passages, and it will be good for you to know correlation between the actual word itself, if the word appears, or its synonym. Nuance, and that would be variation, and slew would be bundle. And we try to use this technique as far as synonym matching to help you to increase your total recall power when it comes to standardized exams. With respect to going forward, we have some new vocabulary words that we want to cover in Volume 2, Chapter 1, and they start with abjure. We also have arduous, and we have crafty, coagulate, ephemeral, guile, and indigence. So let's take a closer look at some of the definitions here. We can actually see from our abjure is a sample sentence. So we can see sample sentence. The city council abjured the homeowner's claim that there was a property tax hike conspiracy to gentrify his neighborhood. And you can kind of gather from the sample sentence what the word means. Abjure, a verb meaning to renounce or object to. And then we have antedate. Sample sentence. The dinosaurs clearly antedated Homo sapiens by several million years. Actually, it was estimated that dinosaurs actually antedated humans by about 65 million years. So verb meaning to be older than. And then we have arduous. Sample sentence. The sheriff had the arduous task of disclosing the details of the young boy's tragic death at school to his grieving mother. So you can gather from the sample sentence that arduous means adjective. It's an adjective meaning severe or difficult. So let's take another look at the next set. Next set would be beneficent. Sample sentence. The operating manager of the foundation was overwhelmed by the nuns' beneficent nature. And you can see from the prefix of the word, it's good, in this case, or kind, or of a good nature. So adjective meaning kind, warm-hearted. Crafty, sample sentence, when the client met with his financial services advisor, he was disappointed by his crafty sales pitch and sketchy demeanor. Adjective meaning very skillful or deceiving. Coagulate, coagulate. Sample sentence. When the snake venom was added directly to the blood sample in the lab, the blood started to coagulate and thicken very quickly. Verb meaning to cause to become solid. And then, if we take a look at our next set of words, we're actually looking at ephemeral, fulminate, and guile. And we can see here from our next set, it would be ephemeral, sample sentence. The weatherman notified his TV viewers that based on the ephemeral nature of the storm, the bad weather would dissipate very quickly. So in this case, it's a good synonym would be fleeting, adjective meaning lasting for a short period of time. Fulminate, fulminate, sample sentence. A few customers at Walmart fulminated the manager to the point that the local police were called to break up the fight, which started when Walmart's computer system crashed suddenly without notice. Fulminate, verb meaning to verbally attack in a very severe way. Fulminate. And then we have guile. Sample sentence. Many residents in the small town were unaware that the accused serial killer was a guile until the murder trial concluded, meaning they actually learned about his true nature. In this case, noun meaning cunning and deceitful. And our next set of words that we're looking at here in Volume 2, Chapter 1, we've covered so much vocabulary, and of course we're going to be incorporating all the vocabulary, picking randomly from the chapters in the previous volume to put together a little bit more intense and more comprehensive reading comprehension exercises that will test your recall power. Indigence, sample sentence. Even though apartheid was abolished in South Africa, millions of residents in Cape Town and other cities also continue to struggle daily in indigence. Meaning, noun, very severe state of poverty. Inadvertent, sample sentence. During the press conference, the police inadvertently disclosed the whereabouts of the fugitive. Adjective meaning unintentional or careless. And then we have myopic. Myopic. Jane corrected her myopic vision with contact lenses, and then she realized she needed a pair of reading glasses just to read the newspaper. So in this case, it points to short-sightedness, adjective meaning nearsighted. So those are 12 brand new words that we're working on, and we're actually going to be taking a look. Let's take a look at the synonym exercise for Volume 2, Chapter 1. We've gone over 12 new words relative to this series, from abjure down to myopic. And we can quickly look at some of the synonyms. We'll present the answer sheet in our next chapter, Volume 2, Chapter 2. And we do know that arduous should correlate to strenuous, just as a clue. We do remember from the sample sentence of fulminate, that was a protest or angry confrontation in Walmart. And then we do have inadvertent, and that should be inadvertent, should be careless. And just as a correction, that the second one from the top should be antedate. My apologies, antedate. And we'll just go ahead and give you the answer, antedate, not antidote. And the correlation to the synonym should be precede. So we'll go ahead and correct it for the next chapter, but just want to let you know that that was an error. Should be antedate. You'll definitely not forget that, because now you have a correlation between an error and what it should be. We do know that antidote is actually um, given for someone who receives something as far as poison. So that would be corrective. But in this case, antedate would be precede. All right, so we're actually looking at getting started with 12 new words in our next chapter. We've covered quite a bit here. We did cover these modal verbs. It's a good. These are going to be good lessons as far as English grammar to go over. We did cover the 12 examples here, and of course we went over the synonyms. As we put together these synonym matching exercises, it's important to make sure that you may do a screenshot so you can quickly recall them, and so do a screenshot for each time that we present a synonym matching exercise answer sheet, and then you can quickly go ahead and print them out and keep them handy if you want to be able to just continue to test your recall powers. And of course, we're going to be going over different reading comprehension exercises as we go deeper into each volume. And of course, we covered 12 new words: abjure, antedate. We covered coagulate. These are very common words on standardized exams. It's good to know them. Best way to remember them, of course, is by looking at their sample sentence, because then you'll be able to recall how it was used, and you'll probably most likely remember it for the exam. And then we have our set here: indigence down to myopic. So thank you for watching Bound News Network, our latest Perfect English Vol.2 Chapter 1. We're covering more and more vocabulary as we get further into this series, and of course we will present the answer sheet for the next for this synonym exercise that we covered. Synonym exercise we covered here for Volume 2 Chapter 1 next, and of course that correction there is antedate, and its synonym is precede. And let's do another one. Beneficent, and a synonym for beneficent is charitable. So you can go ahead and fill in the rest, and look for in our next chapter 2. We'll do a full answer sheet on this so that you can start doing brain mapping, a brain mapping exercise. And I would definitely suggest that you screenshot all of these synonym matching exercises that we provide you. Synonym matching exercises, so that you have them prepared if you want to do a crash course on constantly reinforcing these new vocabulary words if you've never seen them before. And of course, you can also look at redoing and taking a look at some of the sample sentences. The sample sentences are going to help you to increase your recall power, because you'll recall how the word was actually used in a sentence, and that will help you to clarify how it's the actual meaning, and it will also allow your brain to map to potential to its possible synonyms. So there is a rhyme and rhythm in what we're doing here as far as looking at the word in red with its sample sentence, and then you actually see the type of word it is: verb, noun, adjective, adverb, and its meaning. So we hope that you're benefiting from this series, Perfect English Grammar. Here we are at Volume 2, Chapter 1. We thank you so much for tuning in. We are well on our way to that list of 500 or 600 words and beyond, even with their tricky synonyms. And we're touching on different grammar skills along the way to help you brush up on your grammar skills while you learn how to put together reading comprehension exercises with your new set of vocabulary words that we're using in depth, taking a look at how to pronounce the word properly, actually the sample sentence, the type of word it is, and its meaning, and incorporating them into reading comprehension exercises. So let's stretch that vocabulary universe of ours and increase it with synonym matching exercises and reading comprehension exercises. So thank you for tuning in to our latest Perfect English Grammar chapter. We are now Volume 2, Chapter 1. Please go ahead and smash the like button, and also go ahead and hit the notification bell so that you'll be first in line for Volume 2, Chapter 2. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Thanks.